course.
You know what? Actually, I need to put. I'm going to put this up higher, probably. Huh? Some of these podcasts sound great, and some sound like they're in the person's toilet or something. Check 1 2. Yo yo. Kent.
You're good. I think this is going to sound good.
Can we hear it? Are you talking?
Yeah. So we're both talking right now. You want to hear it?
Yeah, let's hear it back. Say it, and I'll maybe say. You say the.
Well,
first.
I thought it would be like if you can visualize the word "I"
Mm-hmm.
and then had a conversation. That's my name, Hada. Had a.
Oh, but just for the audio
but
part
people
of it.
don't really like. Other people are saying it should just be called Ken Hada Podcast.
No, but I had a. But you say the first line. I had a conversation with, and the person says the name.
Oh, right.
So go ahead, say it.
Okay, I had a conversation with
Scott Baio. Say it again.
I had a conversation with
Bob Saget. Right?
That kind of works. Yeah.
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 Do
So I
that.
might do that. It's going to evolve.
Well, let's hope.
Okay. Dulce's a good part of this.
Let's stop to do.
Okay.
Paper towel.
All right.
I like this. This is the
What?
might be my favorite part of the recording right here.
The Dulce
The visit
part?
from Dulce.
Dulce's been with me for. Say hi, Dulce. Here on here.
You'll hear her because yours is Omni.
Hi, hello. My name is Dulce.
That's
How
loud,
are you?
That's loud enough. Dulce's been with me for 30 years. I love her. She's my second mother and sister.
Yes.
We bicker like the odd couple, but at the end of the day, we, Dulce. The best thing about Dulce, this podcast is about art, and Dulce has pitches for different movies and TV shows all the time. Dulce, tell us the Full House pitch that you had. Come over.
The Full House, I
Yeah.
have the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Star Wars did.
Okay.
So it's surely-
So so George Lucas beat us to it. What was Star Wars? It's Full House in space. Is that what it was?
Yes.
Okay.
I love that.
And what else you got? That's it?
Yeah, that was 28 years ago.
Yeah, we should have done it. I mean,
You thought of that 28 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's on top
Wow.
of things.
That's cool.
All right. Let's rock.
She gets quiet when the mic goes on.
Okay.
I can't be with you.
A what class?
Computer.
Oh, great.
Oh. That's good.
There you go. All right. This is never gonna. It's not gonna be quiet for 1 second. I'm just telling you guys right
That's
now.
fine. I love interruptions and I
Oh
love.
God.
You prefer me very early in the morning, more like 10 o'clock.
I prefer you out of here right now to start.
Tomorrow morning, 6.
I don't
You
know.
sleep till late, you know?
I don't know. I don't. Dulce, we're recording something. Do you not? 4 o'clock. Come whenever you want. Thank you.
Bye, Dulcie.
Bye, Dulce. Jeez, oh. All right. What's the name of this podcast, Kent?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. It might be called I Had a Conversation
Okay.
with John Stamos or
I like that.
Kurt Biscayne or whoever.
I think we're going to come up with a title in this time.
That'd be good. That'd be helpful.
Let's talk to people about our friendship and our
Okay.
40, 50 year. How long have we been friends?
Long time? 40 some? Yeah,
40.
something like that. Yeah.
Ken, I call him Kent sometimes.
Yes.
But Ken lived close. We went to school. We didn't go to junior high school together, right?
No.
We went to high school together.
Yep.
Ken was my my cohort, my compadre in art, in drumming, in magic, in in other music,
Right.
in photography, all of it. I mean, we've sort of led each other and taught each other. Well, the first early on, when computers started, Ken, you were ahead of all that.
Yeah. Used to play on the Macintosh laptops.
You taught me how to use a computer, and you taught me how to call it a motherfucking bastard too. Ken never is a very calm man. If you've ever seen him in person, folks, but he can get angry at computers. Not anymore, right?
Yeah.
We've had a great friendship. It's been a very very healthy, beautiful friendship, and I
Yeah.
cherish you, Ken.
Oh, I cherish you.
I mean it. We're sort of a yin and yang. You're more yangy than I am. But you complement each other, I think, right? And
Yeah.
because Ken's very cool, he's very calm, and I can be, tad hyper. I'm happy for you. This is a good idea. This podcast of yours, I think it's
Yeah.
good. So you're talking to different people like me about their art, or what?
Yeah. I just love conversations, and like you and I have always had good ones. Like you're so intelligent.
Yeah.
You have this brain that I could never keep up with.
Oh
And,
please.
You know.
I never thought of myself as intelligent. In fact, I had a relationship where somebody called me stupid, said I wasn't smart enough for her, and I never. It stays with me to this day.
I remember all those stories. I think I think it's horrible. You know, but you know, I wanted to ask you about fame. You know, like, because we never talk about this stuff. You and I always just talk about our
Food.
personal, food or whatever.
Well, cooking more. We talk about drums,
or relationships.
relationships.
But,
We talk a lot about relationships.
Yeah, but I've always wanted to ask you about fame. Like, you were famous before the internet,
Yeah.
and you're famous during it and after it. Did it?
That's a good.
Did it have any? Did it change fame?
Well, sure. Well, you know, look, when before the internet and social media, to find out how popular you were, you'd have to go to the mall or Knott's Berry. You know, you and I would walk around Disneyland and try to get recognized or something. Now you just post a picture and you go, oh, well, that's how popular. You know, I always, I wanted fame before I wanted to be an actor, before I wanted to do the craft.
Okay.
And you know me as well as anybody. You know, I didn't have it in school, and then all of a sudden one day I had it. But I was more into that at the beginning. I was fascinated by. I went to the set of Grease.
Yeah.
My father's friend was a teacher at the school, gym coach, and
At that high school?
yeah, they did it at a couple high schools, but the one it was out, you know, somewhere in Orange County and somewhere around there, and they were doing the scene of the dance, the big dance, and the whole place was covered in crepe paper. And it was waiting around. I think it was the first time I'd ever been on a set, and John Travolta walked in that black suit, and pink shirt, and I was like, that, I want to do that. I want to be that, you know.
Wow.
And but it was fame first, sadly, and then I learned to say, well, wait a minute, you know, let's learn about your craft. I used to go to these amusement parks with like Mike Owen, my best friends back then. He would come up, like I'd be standing by girls, and he would come up to me and ask for my autograph, and I would sign it, and they'd be like, who is you? Who are you? I mean, what did
well, so many stories I didn't know.
Wow. I mean, we could talk about how it changed. I mean, it's sort of obvious. I mean, it's fame as, you know, goes. You know, social media is it's like fire. All this stuff. Some of it's great. Some of it's stinging. I mean, obviously, you know, look, everybody's talking about the Second Amendment with guns and what was the situation when they wrote it. The Constitution, you know, there were just muskets or whatever. It was to defend yourself against them. Let's talk about the First Amendment too. There was no Twitter or Instagram or.
Yes.
So that's gotten, and it, you know, it can. To me, it's fine, and 95% of the stuff is sweet, and because I don't, much to my detriment sometimes, or I wish I could speak my mind a little more on social media, but I can't deal with the backlash. I don't dig it. So, and I also don't.
You feel criticized?
You can if you pick a side, you know, or you. I remember I posted a picture of me and Obama, and I thought, oh, people are going to love this. No.
Half the people did.
Yeah.
Half the people did.
So my dad always said, stay out of politics, stay out of religion. So that's that part of it. But then it's great. I mean, you know, you can use it to promote. You can use it. Kevin Spacey, out of all people,
Yes.
is the guy who turned me on to Twitter. It was early on.
I remember that. That was back in Rebecca days.
Remember? And he said, there's this new thing, Twitter. I think he invested in it and asked me to invest. And I said, what is it? I said, well, you can. He said, you can voice your own opinion. Because he's such a private guy. And I was always like, well, you're the last guy to. He said, no, but if someone writes something bad about you, you can counteract it with Twitter. And you can get your own story out there. Well, he hasn't been on Twitter very much lately.
Right.
But that's Trump, you know, he's out there.
He uses it.
Using it, yeah. So it's all, you know, it's all.
But I mean, like these people that have YouTube, they were like you were. One time you were not famous, and then you became famous, and I know that privacy became a thing with you. Well,
that's the thing too. Like everybody they would never say where they are, where they live, where they're going. Now everybody puts where they are everywhere. I'm here. I'm at this shopping mall. I'm at, you know. Fame again. Like I wanted it. I loved it at the beginning. Then I got, you know, oh, this is a bit much.
Yeah.
And now I'm fine with it. Like if I go out, I'm gonna take a picture with someone. I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna smile. I'm gonna say, because I can do it fast too. I can do it in 10 seconds, and people walk away going, "Oh, he's a nice guy." I got it down. So I'm never. I'm never one, and you can't be anymore. You can't be a dick to your fans.
I've never met anybody who met you that felt like you were a dick. I never.
Right.
I mean, how did you do that? Like, how do all these people in the press like you, and how do all these? It seems a little suspicious because you're so sort of well liked. I mean, I've never. They all kind of protect you.
Well, they do until you really fuck up, and then they
They would
don't.
actually go on it.
I mean, I have some goodwill, so if I ever screwed up again, but my dad was good to everybody.
I know.
You know my dad, and as were your parents. I mean, you'd go out, they'd drive up to your house and see your dad, talking to the neighbors, the gardener, the bus boys, whatever it may be. My dad was that way too. So I believe that people are hopefully, or I'm defined in little moments, not big, not what TV show, what's your relationship, but microtransactions with people. And after so many years, it's starting to pay off. It didn't, it was, in the beginning was always, people had this to say, that guys were always jealous of me.
Really?
I think so. Well, you would know. I mean, not that you were jealous, but you were by my side through a lot of it.
Yeah. But you always had this way with people where it could be a big party, and if you were there, and then you talk to a person, like you'll talk to me, and you could make a person feel like they're the only person in the world. I don't know how you do that. You'd always would do that. You've always had that capability where...
I had to overcompensate for a long time because I really cared about what people thought of me.
Okay, I know.
And I still do, but, I'm not going to go out of my way to be nice to an asshole or something.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. You would know better. I mean, was it weird for you to start to see me get famous? Or what was your perception?
I mean, it was always the same with you. Like when we were in high school, I felt like you were famous, and I felt, and just the fame, the only thing that changed is just your availability. Like if we're somewhere, and you just got used to it after time, but if we were somewhere together, like a restaurant, like, all of the people that know you, we would just have to share you.
There's a time when you could, I could shut it down, or I could not some stars don't put the energy out that it's okay to come approach. They don't have that vibe, right?
Yeah.
But I do, and there's times when I could shut it down and I don't because I just like meeting people. I like it, but it's been interesting. I don't know. I'm pretty lucky to still be around.
I guess the reason I ask is because there's these people that they start a YouTube channel with their cell phone, and then suddenly they're got 2 million views a week.
Right.
And they think they want to be famous. They think they want to.
Well, what else do they have though? They don't. They're not. Some of them maybe. I don't know. I'm not putting them down because I love this YouTube generation. But are they art? Like, where are those little snippets going to be in 20 years?
Right. Well, I mean, I'm thinking they don't have peers like you might have had in entertainment to sort of help them deal with that. Because I know some people right now that are breaking. Pretty big, and I feel like, wow, do they have advice on how to handle it?
I had my parents, but people are a lot more savvy because they know, because they've grown up in that, like about being on a camera, being on a phone or a thing. I was an asshole for a lot sometimes, but I did have my parents to knock me down. My sister's like, hey, go clean the dog shit in the backyard and mellow out. So when you're young, it's it's hard. I look at some of these kids. I think we're talking about, like, I get it. They're they get it, and it's great. I mean, look, if we had YouTube, me and you, when we were kids, it'd be fucking great, man.
Right.
I mean, anybody that wants to be an artist, and that's what this is about, right?
Yes, art. Yes.
And you're not making art.
Yeah.
It's your fault because we used to have to. I had a 16mm camera.
Yep.
And I would shoot a little and edit as I'm shooting because I couldn't edit everything.
Right.
And then I'd get it developed, and then the only place it would be shown is my parents' living room on the thing.
For your friends, yeah.
Okay, you can make a whole movie on an iPhone, which what's the name just did.
I know.
You can cut it, you can edit it, and also where we just had our living room, you put it on YouTube. You have an audience there, so it's a great time to be an artist. And the possibilities are endless. So, good. And you know what? I think someone told me this once, just about TV show, my stuff I was doing, and I was bitching about what network I was on, and he said, you know, if it's good, it's gonna rise. It'll rise. Good art.
So the content.
Yeah, I mean, look at Breaking Bad. That was AMC, wasn't it on? Like, who watched AMC or?
Right.
Wasn't it AMC? No, Bad was on AMC.
Okay.
Breaking Bad was on, I don't know, but
The people loved it.
it just came out. You know, it's like it
Caught on fire.
It rose.
Right.
Mad Men, I think it was AMC.
Okay,
and
I think that one was AMC.
They weren't making, you know, big TV shows then.
Right.
But people found it.
Right.
So maybe that's the same with the internet and YouTube and, you know.
Does it dilute?
Yes.
Okay.
It's all diluted, all of it.
Okay.
TV.
Because when you started, it was like 2, 4, 7. That was about it.
It was harder to get on TV. It was harder to be famous.
It was a special thing.
Yeah.
It was a club.
It was different clubs.
Right.
TV, and I'm doing a show right now on Amazon about my life in the soaps in '81. Well, you were around for that.
Yeah.
Soap opera is a different actors or a different club than nighttime TV actors, and the nighttime people looked down on soap operas back then.
Yeah.
Which was shitty.
But
and
yet, at that time, wasn't that show bigger than all the?
It
night
was,
stuff?
but you know, yeah. I mean, that was the irony there. But and then the movie people looked down on the TV people. When I finally made it to nighttime, you know, I hope I didn't look down on my soap people. But then the movie people, you know, then you couldn't get in the movie. You always knew, like at the Golden Globes, where you were sitting. You know, like the TV people weren't, soap opera people weren't invited. TV people were sitting in the back, movie people in the front.
Okay, that's interesting.
But it's changed. It's changing. That's all changing. You taught me. About photography, which I love. I'm not technically good like you are, but I think I have a decent eye. We played drums together forever.
Yep.
I'll never forget. I had this. I couldn't figure out this drum. I needed a solo. And you taught me the hardest fucking thing, and it took me a while to do, and now it's the center of my whole show. And drummers can't play that thing; they can't figure it out.
It's a unique thing, huh?
Ba dabba dabba do dabba 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 dabba, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
What do you feel? I'm gonna turn the tables on you, Big Daddy.
Yeah.
You are one of the most talented, good-hearted men I know. Period. And I feel sometimes you've neglected your art and your talent.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Certainly drumming. You're a great drummer.
Right.
And you stopped playing 20 years ago or something.
It was about that. Yeah, it was about 18 years.
Did a shrink tell you should play more music?
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I had a problem with going into for the opposite reasons, like you know, for the art instead of the fame, and I thought that that was sort of the answer to everything, the art. I thought that it was all about art. I didn't realize that it was a business.
Show business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
but
yeah. So for
but if
me,
you have the
was
art first, which is what, if anything comes out of it, I think that's what you go for. What you did, not what I did. If you have that, and then you get some savvy, or you get in the right doors, then you can have both. But just to have the fame part on top it's thin, and sort of in the, you know, my late 20s, 30s, I was like, oh, this is not about being famous. This is being an actor. And I went back to class, and I certainly, one of the main things that got me into that direction was I was working with Jack Klugman, and he was like, you got to go to the theater. Got to do the theater. Because I didn't really I wasn't a great singer, and so I didn't. So when Full House ended, he hated it. He was like, oh, stupid show. I go, what do I do now? How do I shake this image? He goes, go to New York. And I did. I went, studied, and I did How to Succeed in Business, and I started doing some Broadway stuff.
How did that affect your art?
Well, it became, you can't hide on a Broadway stage where you can on television, or, you know, there's no second take. There's no, I mean, not that that's just about art, but doing it. But the beauty about doing a musical or a play over and over again for 6, 7, 8 months is you really get to explore that character. Like just when you, like in television, you got, you know, it's, I mean, if you do a series for a long time, you get it, but, you know, but in the theater, you really get to explore that. And people say, oh, isn't it boring every night? Yeah, but then all of a sudden, after a month, you'll go, oh, that's what that means. And then all of a sudden, it takes.
So you made discoveries.
Yes, yeah. And that's just by being open. I did a play with James Earl Jones, probably the greatest actor.
Right.
Did you come to that?
I don't think so. I think one of them, I was on the way out there, and then there's a whole 9/11 thing. We were on the tarmac. We couldn't get off.
Oh, yeah, that was Bye Bye Birdie. No, it wasn't 9/11.
It was after it, though. We were stuck because of something.
I remember.
Yeah.
But I was doing this play with James Earl Jones and Angela Lansbury. I mean, it was,
Oh, that's right.
You know, these two were, and James called me Little John, Little John, you know. And we would once a week, twice a week. He says, let's. And now this guy had been doing. I came into the play like you know, in the middle of it. I mean, they'd done it. I say they were doing it for already like 6 or 8 months.
Yeah.
And I replaced someone, and so he'd been working on this thing for a year and a half. It was called The Best Man by Gore Vidal. Very political. It would have been great right now, actually. And he would dig at it and dig at it and dig at it. And again, like he'd been doing it a long time, and he'd say, I'd go down to his dressing room afterwards, let's go on the stage, and you know, and we would go work a moment in a scene together.
Wow.
And it was magical, right? And we'd do it 10, 15 minutes, we'd do it. My hand to God, it was the second, it was the night before we were closing.
Yeah.
Second to the last time.
Yeah.
We take our curtain calls, I'm going out to my dressing room, Little John, come on, let's go. I go, we only had one more performance, and he still wanted to fine tune a moment. That's an artist.
Yes. So you're never done, you're never happy with it, you're always tweaking it.
Yeah, I mean, he just kept digging at it, digging at it, digging at it. And sometimes you find it, and it works great for a couple weeks, and then you lose it. Or you, all of a sudden you're making too much out of that moment, and then now it becomes about that moment when it's not written to be
So it
about
becomes
that.
imbalanced.
Yeah, it's the theater is a magical place.
But I once read a thing by Marlon Brando where he said that he hated Streetcar Named Desire because of all the energy it took. He said he liked films because on films you'd only had to agitate yourself in close-ups.
Right.
So TV you only had to agitate yourself when the thing's rolling. In theater you had to agitate yourself the whole time. He said it was exhausting.
Well, you know, these are just different techniques. I'm sure that he was great on both, but you know, to me, I find it harder to agitate yourself sometimes because you have to do it from every different angle. I mean, yes, not as much in the wide shots, but you know, in the close-ups again, over and over. That's hard. And the beauty of the theater is, and not every Streetcar was heavy duty, but you know, not every show's where you don't have to agitate yourself all the time.
Right.
But the beauty is you start at the beginning of the story, the middle, and the end. You don't shoot it out of order. You don't do 2 takes. You don't do, and you're done. You've lived that whole story in 2.5, 3 hours, whatever it is, and then you're done with it. So it's all, you know. There's good things about everything.
Just like a live performance of a song as opposed to a recorded performance of a song. Theater is like the live, like you go play with the Beach Boys, you do the song.
Versus you're saying going to a studio.
Into a studio.
Yeah. I mean, sort of.
Similar.
I like. I like playing I like playing drums in the studio now. I like a click track.
Yeah.
I'm using some in the Beach. I want to use more. Tempo is a whole thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's the key. I mean, you have to have good time, and it has to feel good. You've always had that, though. You've always had good. I was talking to Blake about this yesterday. You know, I said, yeah, your uncle always could play good. He could totally make a living as a drummer if he wanted to.
Some would argue with you, but you know, time. I learned a lot from just like my nephew Blake. Like in the beginning, you want to hot dog it. You know, you want to play all licks and fills, and
it's normal.
And then you settle into just where the groove is. It took me a while, hopefully, and he's getting into it too. But it really hit me when I was playing with Carl Wilson with the Beach Boys, because he was a rhythm guy.
Yes.
And he understood time, and he was perfect. I mean, his voice was perfect. Never. The guy, he didn't know how to sing out of tune. He couldn't.
Wow. I believe it. I mean,
I talked to him about tempos, and he played a lot of the Beach Boys stuff a lot faster than the records and a lot faster than we do now. But he also like grew. It was groove. But I was asking him about tempo, and he said, "Just watch my elbow." Like, what? Just watch. And with his right hand,
back's
his
to you.
strumming hand.
Yeah.
He was standing in front of me, and I just catch the back of his elbow. I know you folks at home can't see what I'm doing, but as he's strumming up and down, that would be the rhythm of the song, or the tempo of the song.
So he was sort of the bedrock of that.
Oh yeah, he was. He was the band leader, during those years too. What did you think when I first started playing with the Beach Boys? Were you like,
oh, it's surreal because you and I used to go driving around in your dad's El Camino, and you had there was an 8-track in there, and you had Endless Summer.
That's right.
And you'd play that and sing to it, and how many people does their friend do that, and then someday play with that band.
I've had a blessed life. I never put any obstacles up, though. Did you see that with me? Like, I didn't go like, I can't do that.
Yes.
I can't get an agent. I can't do that.
Yes. I remember the first time you told me that you wanted to be an actor, which was
Really?
we were coming home from Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
We just done that 7 days with.
Talk about that real fast. That Ireland.
Well, we went to Ireland and we.
It was our high school
we were in
band,
high school
marching band.
marching band, and you and I were roommates, and you know, we went there. It was an interesting trip. That'd make an interesting story, you know, because we went there, a drill team and band.
We were ragtag. Well, what happened was you had to raise a certain amount of money to go, and a lot of our main stars didn't come up with the dough in the marching band.
Right.
So we were like a bad news, like we were ragtaggy.
Totally. I mean, yeah. And then you had all this like class, mixing of class, where you'd see drill team girls hanging around with clarinet players, and you'd see, and some people had affairs over there. They had girlfriends and boyfriends at home.
Yeah, oh, that's right. Well, did a teacher do that? Or was that later?
There might, you know, I don't know if that was that. Yeah, I heard something about that, but
no, was it?
I don't do any names on this, but
I don't care.
But yeah, and then we, you know, so like it was like almost like a Breakfast Club. I don't know if you ever saw. Well, weren't you up for the Breakfast Club movie?
Was I?
I thought you were up for
maybe.
But anyways, it was like that where you had jocks and cheerleaders and losers all hanging together.
Oh, because we had to.
Yeah.
But what? But what jocks? I mean, there were no jocks.
But I'm just meaning
we were
that
nerdy
like,
band dudes.
Well, you had like
right?
drill team girls who would never think of hanging around with some.
Right. Those girls were super cool. Yeah, they wouldn't hang around with the guy.
Right, and you had the flag girls, which is a different level.
Yeah.
You know.
Were we hitting on girls? You know, I don't remember.
I mean, you always had girls all around you.
What?
So, I mean, I would just hang around you, and I just by virtue, I'd have 5 around me. And
Did I back then?
They had to be nice to me because I knew you, and you know.
Did I then?
You had girls all over the place, and you know, yeah, and so we had that you know, sort of like 6th grade camp feeling where we were away from our parents and we were
right. Well, we threw a mattress out the window.
Yeah.
That was my. Well, I think too. We didn't drink much then, but we snuck some Irish coffee or something.
Yes.
Coffee with.
I mean, you know, the teachers and the parents were all drinking in the pubs. Yeah. We could go to a pub and we'd see our principal in the pub.
What was his name?
That was Fancher.
I got you to name somebody.
Yeah, oh shit. So, but anyway, so we were going on the bus to the airport going home.
Oh,
and it was a very reflective moment.
But we were ragtaggy, and we pulled it together, and we took first place, right?
That's true. That is true.
That was
in the Dublin, in Dublin on St. Patrick's Day we won.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm sorry. So we're driving back on the bus.
We're just on the bus, you know, and then we said we have like a reflective moment. I just said, I think maybe you said to me like, what do you want to do after this, you know? And
we were in 11th grade.
You were 1 year above me, so you were 11 and I was 10. And
we said, what do you want to do after what? After Ireland?
With your life.
Yeah.
So we were getting that way. Like we're that young, getting that reflective, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, and I said, well, I want to be a drummer, you know, and that was sort of expected. And
well, we were playing drums in the band.
Right. And then I said, well, what do you want to do, you know? And you said,
porn star.
I want to be an actor. And I just totally.
You didn't know that before we
No, and you
when
know.
did we meet? We were in 10th grade.
Well, I mean, I first met you.
Oh.
I was telling Caitlin, I first met you when I was doing a magic show at Kenny Moto's house in his
Kenny Moto was your cousin, and he lived down the street from me.
Yeah, so it was like elementary school, like maybe 6th, 7th grade.
And you were doing a magic show?
In the backyard.
Yeah.
And you came up and you busted my chops. You like took my my billiard balls and you began to do a little Carson-esque thing where you put one in your mouth, and then it would vanish, and then it would come out of the hat, and there'd be another one in your mouth.
Did you say, this fucking guy upstaging bastard?
You were way better at magic than I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how we met. And then, so we exchanged phone numbers back then. That was before cell phones.
Oh, yeah.
And I would call you like maybe once a year. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you wouldn't even remember who I was. I'd call you, but we had we had nothing else to do, so we just talk about things.
Well, we lived not far from each other either.
Right, and my cousin lived right behind you. And, but yeah, that's cool. That's how we met, and we always liked the same stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm sorry. So I said I want to be an actor, and you went, what?
But I ridiculed you. I was like, do you know the odds of becoming an actor? I mean, dude, you're here at Kennedy High School. You're not going to become an actor. I mean, you better get something more solid. And you were just like, no, that's what I want to do.